So lock your doors, grab your TBR cards, because today we're diving into the darker side of romance. From Fangs to Fur, I have monster romances for every classic Halloween creature from my physical collection here. So let's get started with the classic, the vampire. So naturally, you can't talk about vampires without talking about Anne Rice. I have a bunch of Anne Rice novels, so I didn't want to get them all off the shelf and everything for this video. So here are all of my Anne Rice novels that I have down here. I also have a row behind of like doubles and stuff like that. You really can't go wrong with the Anne Rice novel. I would recommend starting, of course, with Interview with the Vampire, a classic. She also has some good witch novels as well, like The Witching Hour. So if you want something a little more fun and lighthearted and a little more goofy, because Anne Rice is not lighthearted and goofy, then I would recommend this series here. It starts with My Roommate is a Vampire, then it's the second book, and this is the third book. I've not read this one yet, but I'm really excited about it. These two I really liked a lot. This one was my favorite out of these two. It's just a really fun, lighthearted series. I just cannot recommend this enough for anyone who just wants a nice, fun, light read that has some vampires in it. So another classic vampire series, of course, is Twilight. This is not everyone's cup of tea, of course, but it's definitely my cup of tea. As you can tell, I've been annotating this one here. I've been really want to try out annotating stuff, so I decided to start with this one. I'm actually going to do a whole video series on me rereading Twilight for the 20th anniversary and everything, and annotating all of them and everything. So definitely hit that subscribe button so you can see when that comes out and everything. I'm loving how this is like looking. I'm so excited about doing the rest of these. But yeah, I definitely recommend this series. I'm a little biased because of it's a lot of nostalgia for me, because I read these like in high school when like they first came out. But I absolutely, it's just a really fun, easy read, and it's a kind of a classic. So then another vampire read that's on my TBR is Court of the Vampire Queen by either Kate or Katie Robert. I'm not sure if the two E's makes it Katie or just it's still Kate. I don't know. Anyway, this is one I'm really excited about. I think this one recommended a lot. It's more of a spicy, darker romance, from what I understand. So it's a little different than some of the other ones I've recommended, but I'm really excited to read this one. I've read a few other of this author's books, and I've really liked her writing style, so I'm pretty excited. So then last but not least for vampire books is Bride by Allie Hazelwood. I actually DNF'd this one originally because I was kind of like bored, and I don't know. I ended up reading something else. I don't remember what I ended up reading instead. But I'm actually doing a video where I'm giving a bunch of romance books I DNF'd a second chance, so like a second chance romance kind of thing. Get it? And I'm actually really enjoying this one a lot more now. I guess either I wasn't in the right headspace, or I just needed to like break through a certain percentage of the book to really get into it maybe. But the marriage of convenience and the whole enemies to lovers and werewolf and vampires and everything like that is really getting good and really getting exciting, and I'm just never bored at all with this, and so I'm really enjoying this right now. Also, I think this is a really good segue into the next book, which is of course Mate by Allie Hazelwood, which is another book in like, I'm not sure if she's doing a series with this or not, or it's just these two books, but this book comes right after Bride, and I think it's interconnected. It's like an interconnected kind of standalone kind of thing, so I think you can read this one without having read Bride. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. I haven't read this one, obviously. It even still has the sticker on it. It's so new. I literally just bought this yesterday. I'm trying to get through Bride first, just in case they are a little more connected. I'm not sure, but I'm really excited about this one. This is a great segue into the werewolf section of this video, because I think this one is like a human and a werewolf, whereas Bride was a vampire and a werewolf. But I have heard a lot of good things about this one, so I'm pretty excited. And then the next werewolf book is Fan Service. I really enjoyed this one a lot. It was so much fun, so funny. So it's about like this retired actor who's in basically that universe's version of like Teen Wolf or something. And it's like years later, and she's like the biggest fan of the show, and he accidentally somehow becomes a real werewolf. And there's of course no actual werewolf specialist, so he tracks down the like mega fan of his old TV show to see if they can figure out how to get his powers under control. And of course then they fall in love, and it's just such a fun book and story, and also like all the callbacks to the old like early 2000s sci-fi fantasy shows and stuff that were popular back when I was a teenager. It was really fun to read. So my next werewolf book is A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire. This is part of a really fun small town cozy romance series, and they're all interconnected, so you don't have read the other ones really to get into this one, because this is the third book in the series. I have not read this one because this video is kind of like a mix of TBR versus recommendations. It's a very weird mix, but this is one of the TBR ones. I'm really excited to get into this one because of, like I said, it's a fun, cozy romance with some monsters in it, and I've really been enjoying that kind of really niche genre lately. And this is the second book in that same series. I'm actually in the middle of this one right now, and I'm really enjoying it. This one's like a road trip, so it's a little less cozy small town than the other two, but I'm really enjoying this one. I didn't know I would like the road trip trope so much, but I'm really enjoying it in this one. I also didn't think I would enjoy like the amnesia trope as well. That's not the best part of this book, but it is fun and adds something to it. So the book is not just about the romance, and then it's not just them driving endlessly, which would get a little boring after a while, I would imagine. But it's just a really fun, more adventurous one out of the other two books in the series. And speaking of which, this is the first book of the series. I have read this one, so this one is part of the recommendations part of this video. And this is just such a sweet, fun, and hilarious small town monster romance. And the story of this one is that she's a witch who's from a very powerful witch family, and she's trying to summon some like cooking ingredients and stuff, and she's not actually very good at being a witch just yet, which is the whole point of drama in the whole book. And she accidentally summons a demon, and he can't leave her until she gives him her soul, and of course she doesn't want to do that. So it's kind of like a forced proximity, and they fall in love, and he helps her out and she helps him out, and it's a beautiful story. It's fun and it's cozy because it's set in like the little small town, and I absolutely love this one so much. When I was done with this one, I instantly went and got the second book of the series, and I got the third book like almost as soon as it came out, even though I hadn't read the other book yet, because I knew I was going to read them because I love this one so much. And this book is also a really good segue into the next section of this video, which is demon romances. So this one's a little differently. This is actually a manga. Obviously, this is a classic Inuyasha. I love this one so much. Even if you don't like normally read manga, I would really recommend this one, or at least watching the anime. It is a classic for a reason. This is what got me into manga and anime in the first place, because I remember sneaking watching this at night on like Toonami when I was a kid, and it's just so much of what I love in my books and reading and everything now, I've figured out from Inuyasha. And like I keep saying, it's a classic for a reason. So in case you weren't aware what the story is, it's about Kagome, a girl who lives in like a temple in Japan, in modern day Japan, and she falls down like a well or something in her family home, and she ends up in feudal era Japan, where there's demons and magic and all sorts of stuff, and she runs into Inuyasha, who is like a half demon, and they ended up going on adventures together, and of course they end up falling in love. And it's such a sweet, sweet story, and I can't recommend this one enough. Whenever anyone asks me my favorite anime, this is my first answer. Like instantly, no hesitation. It's also my first anime. So the next series I want to talk about, I actually don't have physical copies of right now because I can't find them. They're one of the things that got lost in my move. But it's the Hellbent series. I absolutely adore this series. I know if you're probably tired of me talking about this one if you've been watching my videos for a while, but I do love this series. I'm a sucker for a found family trope, and this has it in spades. So the story is about these group of guys who are they all act like brothers, but they're actually not related. They're all demons, and they escaped from hell all together, and they're on Earth now trying to figure out their lives, essentially. And so there's a lot of personal growth, there's a lot of like found family, and of course they all fall in love with human women they meet along the way, and it's just such a sweet, touching story with a little bit of humor in there, and it's absolutely chef's kiss. I love it. Can't recommend those enough. So I don't really have a great segue for the next section of this, which is alien romances. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. And once again, this is not a book that I have a physical copy of. This is an arc that I got a while back, and I think I'm in love with an alien, and I really enjoyed this one. Once again, I'm a sucker for a found family trope. However, this one, I didn't feel like it was executed very well, which was like my main criticism. Because the premise is this alien has crash landed on Earth, and he's trying to like, not really assimilate, but basically just kind of get by. And so he finds himself on a forum, which is supposed to be like their in-universe version, I think, of like Reddit or something. And it's a forum for people who like believe in aliens, and they're talking about aliens, and he thought it'd be kind of funny because he's an alien. They don't know that, so it's a little funny. And he ends up like bonding with these people online really well, and so they all decide they're going to meet at a space-themed convention together. And so they all meet for the first time at this convention, which is where the book starts. And of course, he falls in love with the people he met in the forum. Like I said, one of my criticisms of the book was I didn't think the found family trope was really done super well. I feel like all of the characters that were supposed to be like family with each other, really their conversations were all very like surface level, kind of like small talk, not really, you just really get the found family vibe from it. But however, the romance part of this book I thought was pretty good, and it was a really fun concept, and it was a fun read, and so I definitely recommend it. So once again, I have some other books from another author that you really can't have anything about monster romance without mentioning, and that is Ruby Dixon's Ice Planet Barbarians. I have a few of these books. I can't find some of them. I don't know where they are. A lot of my books got lost in the move. Anyway, I do really recommend the Ice Planet Barbarians. Once again, I'm a sucker for a found family trope. I just am, and this has it in spades. 20 books of it, in fact. There's a lot of books in this series because there's like the main books in the series, and then she has like a bunch of spin-offs and everything. The story is that there's women that have been kidnapped on Earth by a group of aliens, the first group of aliens, and then the spaceship they're being transported on gets shipwrecked or whatever. I'm not sure what you call it when it's a spaceship. You think shipwreck, you think pirate ship, but it's a ship. Whatever, doesn't matter. Anyway, they crash land on this other planet, and the aliens on that planet save them from the evil aliens, and the good aliens welcome all the women into their tribe. And it's just, of course, each girl pairs up with one of the aliens, and they all fall in love. And it's a really fun, like, found family whole vibe, which, you know, I'm a sucker for. And these are on the spicier side of the books I'm recommending. So if that's not something you really enjoy, then you might want to skip these, or look up these spicy chapters or something like online and just skip those. Because honestly, the story really can't stand on its own. Ruby Dixon is really good at writing spicier novels that also have a really good story to hold out all that up. So I definitely would recommend these. They're really fun, and there's so many of them. You will not run out of books for probably all of spooky season, even if you start like at the beginning of October. So that's it for my Halloween Monster Romance Rex. I hope you find your next cozy or spicy read. So be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because my Twilight Reread and Annotation series will be kicking off soon, and it's gonna be such a fun trip down memory lane. I can't wait. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye!